Thank you, Pierre. Merry Christmas, everybody. Pierre gets me in the Christmas spirit. He was here last night with his lovely wife, Cheryl, and Brian McMillan was here, and your kids, and Haley, and
It's a lot of fun.
Don Foley,
Yes, sir.
the guy that knows everything going on in the schools. Welcome into the studio this morning.
Thank you so much.
So does Pierre give you a Santa vibe more or a Grinch vibe?
Oh, Santa. Yeah. He does, actually. Anyways, glad to have him on the radio. It's been, 17 years, I think.
A long time.
He's been on with me here through thick and thin. Anyway, good party last night. Our Flagler Broadcasting party for all of our friends and clients and politicians and anybody that wanted to come did, and had hundreds of people and great time and music. And anyway, so thanks everybody that happened to stop by. Appreciate that. This morning, we're going to be all over the place. Don Foley is our communications coordinator for Flagler County Schools.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. So we're going to find out what's going on and how are the vouchers working. Are we gaining students? Are we losing students? Do we need to hire teachers? So we're going to hit you up with all those statistics and facts. And also, you're a good talk show host and everything, so you're kind of part of with Brian McMillan and me here this morning. So just jump right in. Okay?
Absolutely.
All right. So we've got so Paul Renner is going to be checking in at any time during today's show live, and we don't know exactly when. He doesn't, but he said he promises he would. He's at some governor's meeting or something like that. But right now we want to take everybody out. I'm wondering if you're watching. Oh, yeah, and if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching live on our studio cameras on the WNZF Facebook page, you will see that handsome guy with all the bookshelves in his background there, John Koch. Good morning, John.
Good morning. Yeah, how you doing?
Oh, we're doing great.
This is something new for me.
Something new for you.
Yeah, I don't do too much of this. I'm a radio broadcaster, not a video broadcaster.
Well, you've just crossed the threshold. So
I have.
All right, so I saw a lot of people are wondering, all right, now who is this guy, John Koch or whatever? Are you offended if they call you Dr. Death?
Yeah, I'm kind of, but you can't let people not have their labels and stuff. I don't care for it, but it's something I've had to deal with for, I don't know, ever since I've been doing this.
All right. Well, I think it's been 35 years or so since you witnessed. So here, give us a quick overview of why you're on. And people have heard your voice on the airways before, but John Koch, he's one of our correspondents. He covers all the executions in Florida, and it has been a fire sale of clearing out the death row cells this year. What, 18 so far?
Yeah, 18 so far. We got one next Thursday.
And we had
again
one
for Frank Allen Walls.
And who was just executed this week?
Let's see. Thank goodness I have the file in front of me. Mark Allen Geralds. We've had so many. They float in and float out like birds. You do one and then you move on to the next one.
So you're a witness of executions, and you report you're a media representative on it. And Brian, I would think that you would find that somewhat interesting. And
yeah.
Some people find it kind of weird that John Koch, you've witnessed how many people be executed?
Starting next week. Well, it's 104 so next week will be 105.
And
that includes that's
But hold on here. Let's we're buffering, I think. But anyway, go ahead, Brian, with your question.
I'm just wondering how you got into this line of work.
Quite by accident in a lot of ways. In 1979, Ted Bundy came through here and dumped a body at the Madison County line. I was there when the sheriff brought out the body, broke the story on AP, and I said, well, I'm going to finish this story. It left me to me sooner or later, and it did. And the lady at Florida Radio Network back then had the assignment but didn't want to do it. And she said, well, I know this crazy guy in Live Oak that'll do it. And well, that was the That was the story.
So the first execution you witnessed was Ted Bundy. This is probably one of the most famous serial killers in Florida.
Oh yeah, that was a zoo. That was a circus. I tell you, that was 3 days of coverage. That it was an experience to say the least.
So, I mean, what I remember of Ted Bundy, we're not going to talk about all 103 here. We don't have time. But I just, it was so long, 35 years ago, but I just remember his arrogance and just whatever. How was he when you saw him in his final moments? What actually happened? If you can describe it from, the morning they get their final meal or what, just take us through the process of what happens with Bundy and everybody on death row.
Well, let me just let's cut to the quick here. He was assisted by 2 guards, one to the left, one to the right. And he was brought into the execution chamber itself. He looked up at the crowd in the witness area, which is a nice big window. And then he looked over at the executioner, who I feel was a woman. And then he looked at the chair, and then he kind of slumped, and he realized, well, the gig's up. I have got no place left to go. It was until his death. It strapped him in the chair. Didn't move. He was just kind of resigned to his fate.
But it was all kind of in the last minutes of his life.
Yeah, it took.
All right. Yeah, we got buffering a little. Yeah. So Florida no longer executes with the electric chair, what was called Old Sparky.
Yes, they still have Old Sparky, and inmates can choose Old Sparky within 30 days of their sentencing, and we have one on death row right now that has chosen that. But they gave that up, and the last was Alan Davis. When we saw.
All right, we got a buffering. I don't know if there's a Wi-Fi or a problem there, but we're kind of cutting in and out on you, John, there. So we'll try to cover it and keep the coherent message going here. So what is it about you always remember the course the first time in anything in life. Was it, when you're watching something like that? I mean, how did you feel as a witness and pretty much a young man, reporter?
Well, I don't really know how to answer that question. It's a story that needs to be told. You got to put yourself in a frame of mind to do your job. And what is my job? It's to accurately reflect and not interpret. So, that part just doesn't come in. It's after the fact that maybe if you or if anything happened, I don't know how to answer that question. I really don't, David. A lot of people ask me that, and I don't know what kind of an answer to give you on that one.
John, just one question. I mean, obviously, if you've seen these kind of things over and over again over the years, is there one particular one that left more of an impact than the other?
Well, of course, Ted Bundy, the largest impact. Then we had Davis, Alan Davis, Tiny Davis. That was the last use of the chair. And the first use of lethal injection. You have everybody dressed up in hazmat gear coming to execute this guy the first time. And they were in blue hazmat suits. That was kind of strange. There were others that I'd have to go back to the record, but those, I guess, would be the top 3.
Is okay, they have a choice. Electric chair or lethal injection. To me, I kind of like lethal injection better if you just kind of go to sleep. Is it that easy with lethal injection? I mean, you're watching them do this. Is it just like they're sedating somebody, or what goes on?
Well, okay. If I don't know if any of you have ever had a major operation where you've had to be sedated. The chemical they use, which is similar to what they give the condemned, they're giving you 0.5 to 0.6 milligrams as opposed to 100 milligrams, and then clean the tube and they give you another 100 milligrams. That's enough alone is enough to kill you right then and there. So you're out within 35 to 40 seconds.
What's the
body to the chemicals that are.
All right. Is it kind of like when you put your dog to sleep? The same.
Yes,
same
that
thing?
would be a good example. Yes.
Okay. All right. What are your? I know you're very kind of stone cold in your reporting, very factual, very professional, and but we know you're John, and we know you do have emotions about these things. What are your? And I'm just going to ask you, like, are there still protesters out there saying, stop the executions, or you don't really hear much about protesting of death row anymore?
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we got you now. Go
raise
ahead.
your hand if you can hear me. Okay. Yeah. The last execution we have the continuous.
Now we can't. All right, we're.
And he was.
Hey, you know what,
Wow.
John? I'll tell you what we'll do. We're gonna call you and just put you on audio on the phone, okay? Because it's some important conversations, and I don't want to, miss on things. So,
All right.
I'm gonna take a commercial break, and
Can you hear me?
we have you now. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah, 386
yes.
362. Okay, the landline. Call me on that landline.
Do we have that landline, Mark? Live radio. You gotta love it.
Yeah,
huh?
live radio
All
is
right, go ahead.
fantastic.
Go ahead. All right, give the world the phone number.
386. Yeah, 386 362 2529. I repeat, 386 362 2529. Copy. Over.
Over. Roger, stand by. We'll get right back to you there, okay?
You got a few dozen pizzas coming your way.
That's
All righty.
Everybody send John a pizza. Okay. All right, we'll be right back here. Free for All Friday, talking with John Koch. He is the guy that has witnessed over 100 executions, and he's not missed one since Ted Bundy. And correspondent that, it's got a, I don't know. I've had opportunities to witness, and it was like they draw your name out of the press pool. And I was like, I don't think I really want to. Would you go witness one? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Would you witness one?
I would. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to try to, but I would, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. Don, what about you?
I really think it would depend on the situation. I really do. Try to get as neutral as you can on that kind of thing. But at the same time, you want to be able to say you can speak to something intelligently. It might be actually a good idea to say you've witnessed one.
Okay. All right. We'll take a break. We'll be right back with John Koch.
Be local, buy local from local companies and members of the Flagler Home Builders Association.
Hi folks, this is Bill Gallagher with SolarFit. Just a note to the wise, beware of unlicensed contractors knocking on your door. SolarFit has been installing solar systems in our community since 1975. We won't knock on your door, so give us a call at 445-7606, 445-7606.
The Flagler Home Builders Association, building a better community for you.
Flagler County needs a strong voice to protect our families, our future, and our quality of life. I'm Teresa Pontieri, conservative Republican, hardworking mom and business owner, and a proven leader. As your vice mayor, I've fought for infrastructure improvements while holding the line on out-of-control growth, prioritized public safety and economic development, and reduced our property taxes every year I've been in office. As your Flagler County Commissioner, I'll ensure our families and businesses continue to thrive, bringing in good-paying jobs, keeping taxes low, and preserving our quality of life through thoughtful planning. As a lifelong advocate, I, Teresa Pontieri, will provide experience you can trust and leadership we need. I look forward to your support as your next Flagler County Commissioner for District 2.
Paid for by the Campaign for Teresa Pontieri for Flagler County Commission District 2.
If you're a business owner, for a year in review to see if you qualify for any special deductions at year end, give us a call at LCI Taxes. 386-586-3976. 386-586-3976. LCITaxes.com.
So Ashley Stover is a miracle worker. She sold my property, which could have been a problem for me, and had it under contract within 2 weeks. Definitely would recommend Ashley Stover again.
Hi, it's Ashley Stover, your go-to home girl at Florida Homes Realty and Mortgage. Call me today, 386-864-1951, or find me online at ashleysellsfhrm.com.
Free for All Friday. It's the 12th day of December 2025. And, well, Don, are you getting in the Christmas spirit? Are you feeling it?
Even if I wasn't, my schools don't let that happen. They are way too active at the holiday time of season. So there's lots to get you there.
All right. So, so the kids are up on it. They're loving it. And
Absolutely. We got a message late last night. Rimfire's Chorus is going to one of our senior facilities. And they want to do an impromptu concert along the way wherever they could stop. So they're coming over to GSB on a given morning. I'm like, man, there's no time to sleep on these guys. Everybody's pretty active right now.
All right, we're going to talk with Don later in the program about what's been going on this year, almost midway through the year, and what's coming up. How are we doing with the voucher system? Are we gaining students, losing students? How are we doing with teachers? We're going to ask you all that kind of stuff.
And so Miss Moore is satisfied. You need to know this. Today is the 81st day, actually 82nd day of school. I almost messed that up. 82nd day of school. So we are getting to that halfway point.
But who's counting?
Miss Moore is, and we keep up with it.
Did you dress up for 80s Day, Don?
I did not, but I made sure to report on it accurately.
All right, John Koch, we got you back on just like radio. Forget the camera, right? Just like the old days.
Yeah, forget the camera, right? Right back to old technology. I like that.
Okay.
You know, David, I'm a broadcaster, and you know that, and I really appreciate you helping me out in something that is what I feel is very important to do.
Yeah. What do you think, Brian, you're as a journalist, to have somebody, because it's kind of just in passing. Oh, by the way, they just, killed somebody on death row. It's almost like space shuttle launches, when they first did one. Oh, my God, the whole world stopped. But we're doing so many of these executions in Florida now. It's, kind of like, oh, another rocket went up. Oh, they just, killed another death row inmate.
Yeah, it's interesting because part of the purpose of the death penalty is this is what DeSantis said about a month ago in an interview. But I think it's generally seen as like the purpose of it is to be a deterrent. If I do this, then I'm not going to get away with it. And I could actually be executed myself if I commit this crime. I don't know if people go through that kind of thought process before they commit crimes, and it does stop somebody from doing it. But it is kind of interesting if you have now 15, 16, 17, 18 in 1 year that happen. Does it lose its kind of like shock value to the point where it's not as much of a deterrent? It could be kind of ironically the case, but
or does it increase the shock? Because it used to be, oh, well, hey, I'll die of old age before they ever execute me.
Yeah, we're not afraid to carry this out, and I think that is a message that I think he's trying to send. Yeah. It's he says that he's trying to bring justice to these victims' families. They've been going through all these delays and delays and delays from their perspective, and you never have that kind of closure. And the victims' family members could die of old age before somebody is actually brought to full justice as the justice system says it should happen. So
we'll talk about right off the top with the alleged Charlie Kirk suspect. The words you heard from his own voice, the recordings that he shared, there really didn't seem to be like he was aware of where he was, what had happened, and almost in a state of like I'm fine with where this goes. Mm-hmm. And it was very bizarre to listen to because again you look at it as it's supposed to be a deterrent. So
well, then some people look at it like, here these guys are, we know, and woman. You did witness a female execution, right, John?
Yes, Boyolano and Eileen Warnos. And just as a side note, there have been less media representatives going in nowadays. We're down to 2 now, AP and myself, and occasionally somebody else will come up. But, we used to fill the seats. And now there's only 2 of us going in, myself and AP. It's gotten less and less and less, which is one of the reasons why I still do this. The people need to know what's being done in their name.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there absolutely needs to be reporting done on it. And so that's really surprising and pretty interesting if it's down to 2. At the same time, news is something that's happened that's unusual. Otherwise, it's not really that newsworthy. Again, in some cities, a murder does not make front page news. In other places, it does because it's so rare. So this is, the record becomes the news instead of the actual execution.
I mean, given that, John, what do you think is something, witnessing all these through the years, the public needing to know what happens? Is there a common misconception you hear amongst people that follow your coverage?
I don't think that. What do you mean by a misconception?
How the actual sentence is carried out. There are certain things like as far as how maybe lethal injections are administered, or the way maybe perhaps an inmate acts or commonalities. Is there something where the people just assume that this is a clean process? There's not much to it. Is there something that people just they just have misconceptions on as far as how the death sentence is carried out these days?
I understand your question now. I live in a very rural north of Florida, very conservative, almost a reactionary, and the folks around here where I live and work say it's too good for them. We ought to bring back the chair, and that's the conception up here. I don't know what it is in a major urban area because I don't live in one. But up here in Suwannee and Hamilton and Madison counties and Columbia counties, people feel that lethal injection is just too good for them, and it needs to be carried out almost immediately, sort of like the system that England uses. I mean, in England, if the death penalty is given, within 30 days, you're dead.
So there's a story here, same one I was looking at before. This is actually by Jim Turner of the News Service of Florida. He's been a long time, reporter in the state. And he reported that as of a month ago, Florida had 256 inmates on death row. And Florida has had 30 people since 1973. 30 people have been convicted and sentenced to death, only later to be exonerated, which is the most of any state. Illinois has had 22, Texas has 18. I guess that's one, that's obviously a big concern. If somebody does, you do hear stories, someone's been in jail for a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, and then there's something else that comes out that they shouldn't have been. I think that's always the sort of the weightiest reason to go through all these appeals. I mean, DeSantis said that if he had any doubt, he wouldn't pull the trigger on it and actually go through with the execution. Mm-hmm. But that obviously we're not perfect. It seems like having some time is probably healthy.
Well, so what you're saying is you don't want to be like, oh, the DNA shows it wasn't that guy, and well, sorry about that. We already executed him.
Exactly.
We have one back home in Tennessee that's about to be executed. Last check, is a female from an '88 murder. That's 37 years. I mean, I'll take 37. If I knew I was going to get 37 more years right now, I mean, that's a really long time to be in that process. But if they're in
jail,
Hey, if our listeners, if you want to text
not as good as being out.
Yeah, true.
Our text-in number is 386-259-0879, 259-0879. I promise I will watch it because I give it out and then the show's over. And
I just got 10 texts.
I know, and I feel bad that I didn't do them, so I'm watching it. So 386-259-0879. And John Koch, a lot of people think like the money. How much does it cost to have a death row inmate on death row a year?
That I couldn't tell you without looking it up. But let me say this about that: the last two, including Mr. Walls, have given up. They've stopped their appeals and they're ready to go. And the past executions, we've seemed to have had more of that than in previous executions in years past. So you may have one or two, but now we've got three in a row that said, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Let's get her done. The other point I'd like to point out is that the system we have gives the convicted every opportunity to bring their case before the appropriate court. And that's the difference between our system and England that I just mentioned. When they're there, they've had every opportunity to present their case. And that's the difference between our system and other people's system. And that's all. That's what I'll say about that.
Somebody just wanted to know. I'm trying to decipher what that. Oh yeah, how many people are on death row right now in Florida?
200 and something at the last count. I think that was just given. Again, that's something that I would have to look up and go to the record. But
a month ago it was 256.
Now it's dropped.
All right. Brian, can you look up real quick for us the cost of death row?
Yeah, I just looked this up. This was a 2023 article, and I don't really know the organization that's publishing this very well. But
and then add inflation.
But it says that it costs about $60,000 to $70,000 per death row inmate per year. That's what.
So 200.
I haven't vetted this information, but it's linking to a journal abstract. So
yeah, well, they get their own private cell. They get their own private cell. Are they well taken care of on death row, John? Before, they're not with roommates or anything, right? Do they get treated well with?
Well, they get treated humanely. However, these men and we don't have any women on death row right at the moment, but they're pretty well isolated. They get taken out. They get a shower. They can talk to their fellow inmates when they're in their cells, but these men are pretty well isolated from human contact, and it's not something that is very pleasant if you're somewhat social. So it's not like they're getting an easy trip. Their cells are small, their movements are limited. Contact is limited, so it's not like they have a day in the park.
Do you meet with the inmates on death row before they're executed? Do you get to go talk to them?
Well, they are allowed a press conference some period, about a week or so before. Very few inmates have chosen that, and no, I've not talked to any of the inmates in my career. Other than whatever press conferences that they wanted. And I think I've only attended 3 or 4 of those in my total career.
The question from a listener, you mentioned Aileen Wuornos, who, of course, the movie Monster was made. Was the movie Monster pretty accurate? And talk about her final moments in the execution chamber.
Well, I don't know about that one, but Netflix recently produced another one on Wuornos, of which it was a BBC Netflix, of which I had a hand in it and assisted in the production of that one. And that was pretty accurate. I assisted in it because, of course, I witnessed that execution. I've never seen Monster, so I can't talk about that.
All right. So, all right. Well, you gave us a little bit of Bundy's walking into the chamber. Tell us about Aileen. People think, oh, this is really sick, but I am curious about this. And I thought the movie Monster was really good. I liked it. I don't know why, but I did. It was entertaining, and what was then the star of it? What was her name?
Charlize Theron. I think it
Charlize
was
Theron.
2004.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely. I mean, it's a great movie making.
Yeah, Brian's a big movie buff, by the way. He knows all the trivia on those.
2003. Sorry.
Okay, 2003. All right. So, so John Cote, tell us about the Aileen Wuornos execution.
Well, Aileen was rather a strange thing. I was in Dixie County at the sentencing trial where she told the judge that she wanted to stop all appeals and she wanted to get on with it. She was kind of cocky even through the end of the procedure. She was just strange. That's all I can say. Even her last words were rather unusual, to say the least. I can't say I was impressed, but I was just busy just being a reporter to have any feelings at the time. But now looking back on it, she was a strange person. That's all I can say about that.
What were her last words that were strange?
Well, she mentioned that she's going to be there at the end, and she mentioned Independence Day and some references to a movie, and again, I'd have to go to the record for her last words, but it was just things that to me were off the wall, and just had no connection to her and what she had done. Instead of saying I'm sorry or I have a remorse or I'm glad I did it, she just went off on this tangent that had really nothing to do with reality at the time.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia article right now. She declined her last meal. She had a cup of coffee instead. Her last words were, "Yes, I would just like to say I'm sailing with the Rock and I'll be back, like Independence Day," meaning the movie, "with Jesus. June 6th, like the movie. Big mothership and all, I'll be back. I'll be back." That's apparently what she said.
Wow.
Second woman in Florida to be executed since 1976, restored the capital punishment.
Okay, another question was about the electric chair. They have a choice here. Didn't somebody that they tried, the electric chair wasn't effective and actually didn't kill him? What's the process with the electric chair? What do they do? You've witnessed it. What's the process with that?
Well, they bring you in. You sit in the chair. They strap you up. They put not a blindfold, but a covering across the face. The team warden steps back after the phone call to the governor's office to make sure everything is cleared, and they press the lever. Now, before that, the electricity was changed from an outside source to the prison zone system. So you had about 35 seconds where the lights went out and everything went dark and then came back up so that the prison system's electricity would do the job. And you'd hear that clunk, the connection of the switch, I suppose, and it was a thud, and then you'd hear the buzzing, and then you'd see the jerking, and more, as in the case of Pedro Medina or Jesse Trefero or Alan Davis. That's where the weird stuff would happen occasionally. And that's probably because of the connection from the head. They use a sponge. Once they didn't use a natural sponge. I think that was Jesse Trefero, and there were flames and smoke. Pedro Medina was very similar, but more. And then, of course, Davis was just horrible.
And so is it true that if you survive, like somebody, they tried to execute them a few times and survived them and they let them go?
No.
Okay. All right.
No. People say no.
All right.
Once you're under the sentence of death, they're going to execute the famous last words at the end. If the sentence of the state of Florida was carried out on so and so and so and so at such and such a time, and they're going to do it. We have not had that type of a situation where they were still, they were in Jesse Trefero's, Pedro Medina's, and Davis. They just cycled up and did it again.
All right. So the next one coming up, John Koch, is when and who?
It's Frank Allen. It's Thursday on the 18th at 6 p.m. Of course, at the state prison near Stark. And I'm just beginning to get into that case, and I'll start working on that case on Monday. But Frank Walls has dropped his appeals, so it should go as a matter of routine as in previous ones. I would think there's always that chance that they miss a vein or something does not go right. And we've had a couple of those since they've started, but I don't foresee anything unusual or anything to stop the execution on the 18th at all at this time.
Do you anticipate more than 20 next year in 2026 executions with DeSantis's last year?
Listen, the way he's been going, I expect him to do 2 a month like he's been doing for the past 12 months, so that we could see in the state of Florida 24 executions. I'm surprised I haven't seen another execution. He had a chance to get one more in on the 30th. Would be the last time, but I haven't seen anything new. But I expect 2 in January, 2 in February, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He is and I expect the governor to do that if he continues to be consistent as he was in the past year.
Are there protesters out there at all the executions still, or are they worn out?
Well, no. There's a group that comes up from Gainesville on a bus every execution. They're there. Sometimes we have somebody that supports the execution. As we did in the last one. I even heard the strains of Led Zeppelin the guy was playing. I don't have a chance to go over there because I have to go in. So that part of the story I don't get unless I can get somebody to come with me, and then I give them, I give them a recorder and a camera and say, go get.
Hey, Brian.
So
Brian.
That part of the story I don't get to participate in at all. By the time I get out of the execution, they're getting ready to go.
All right. Hey, if Brian wants to come over there with you for an execution, would you show him around?
Not only show him around, I put the guy to work and send him over there amongst the protesters so I can get that side of the story while I'm on the inside watching the condemned being executed.
Well, if there's ever any Palm Coast residents who do that, I'll be there.
I know I'm schizophrenic, but I can't split my personality physically to get that part of the story, and I feel like I'm missing something.
All right. Well, is there any Flagler County related executions or people on death row for any of those, or that's probably asking you too much?
Again, I'd have to go. I'd have to look at the record. I don't have that available to me in front of me right now. I'd have to go through and look at each prisoner to see what that case is, and I'd be more than happy to do it and send something on at a later time.
Well, when there is, Brian will come over and be your reporter.
Oh, I'll have a flunk. Well, then I'll take him up on that. Tell him to bring a recorder, and I'll have a camera for him so I can get some pictures. I hope he knows how to use one. If not, I'll give him a quick lesson.
Brian will do fine.
Okay. John Koch, hey, we got to run. Thank you so much. I appreciate what you do, and I do believe that we do need to have continued professional media coverage on it, which has faded away. Like you said, there's only 2 media people even covering the executions anymore. And you know, you must be on a first name basis with everybody in Stark, I would imagine, when you come
Well,
to...
I do have a good relationship, but I want to, you know, David, I want to thank you because when the Florida Radio Network, Florida News Network, dropped me, the news manager said they no longer wanted to use me. That was a blow. That was something that hurt terribly because they never told me why. And I started really panicking and looking for some way to continue a job that I feel is important and necessary, and you stepped up for me. And so I have, and you'll step up for me again if I need you, and I know that. And the people of the state of Florida will get the coverage because of people like you in broadcasting that know that this is important. Local news is important, and we're not getting it now because of the corporate structure and the nature of where broadcasting is today. And it's hurting us, it's hurting this country, and it's doing, the lack of local news is doing more than continuing the divisiveness in this country, which is going to kill us. It's going to kill us, and people are going to get hurt, and that bothers me, and that hurts me tremendously. So thank you, David, for stepping up and watching my back.
All right. Well, you got it, John. Keep up the good work, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, and thank you for allowing me to be with you, and thank the listeners, too, for allowing me to be with them.
All right. Thank you, everybody. John, have a Merry Christmas. We're going to take a break. We will be back with Don Foley. Where's Paul Renner? I don't know. We'll be back.
Garage is still any good?
Bring it in. We'll let you know.
And while you're at it, if you need to match a color,
chip off some paint and bring it in.
Our color matching is unmatched.
Benjamin Moore, corner of Old Kings and Utility Drive.
Palm Coast.
Locals know where locals go.
NFL football is back and it's at Johnny D's. Every single game. Happy hour 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day and $4 shot specials on game days.
Johnny D's Beach Bar and Grill. We're waiting for you.
Flagler County is an awesome place to live, and we have so many exciting things to look forward to. Hi, I'm your Flagler County Commissioner, Leanne Pennington. Already we've been able to accomplish many things you may not be aware of. We've funded flood prevention efforts. We've protected environmentally sensitive land throughout the county. We've created new economic development incentives that will create new jobs, and we're one of the safest counties in the state of Florida. I'm Commissioner Leanne Pennington. Thank you for your support.
No matter what time you reach out to Craig Flagler Palms Funeral Home and Flagler Memorial Gardens, when you call, you'll talk to a real person on the phone. Every loved one is treated as a special person, cherished by family and friends. Hundreds of families each year choose CFP. Learn more about all their services at DignityMemorial.com.
We're back Free for All Friday. And got Don Foley with us here to wrap up the show.
Hey.
He's the communications coordinator for Flagler County Schools. And we're almost halfway through the year. And we got Christmas vacation, everything coming up. And so how are we doing? You hear a lot of things about education, the voucher system, it's like $8-9 grand per student that doesn't go to Flagler schools. They're out that much money. And it goes to whoever else the parents want to spend it on. So does that hurting our public school system here?
Obviously, it plays a part. I will say, though, I've got to work the past couple of years with a lot of my counterparts in the other counties, and compared to the other counties, we're doing much better than they are. They're in pretty dire straits. You know, you hear the news from Orange County right now. They're looking at closing 7 or 8 schools. Mm-hmm. We do have a slight decline right now, but it is nowhere near what we were anticipating. But it's still a decline, and it's because of the school choice atmosphere right now. But we're very thankful for where we stand compared to our counterparts in our other counties. Then as far as teachers and roles, I found that actually working with some of the media in Jacksonville that had called right before the school year started, they said, hey, tell us about some of your vacancies. And then I got the pleasure of hearing that all our key roles were filled. And they're like, you're kidding? I'm like, no, I'm just checked twice with my human resources, and they're quite excited. We don't hear that. So it's nice to hear that. But of course, this is a group that we continue to grow because, we are a big stepping stone for those who want to be in the education career. We do a lot of recruiting to get our our young and future educators to come here. So it's something where you're constantly going to be hiring, but we are definitely in a great place.
So there's no plan to build new schools in Flagler County?
Not right now. So, of course, being a media background, every time I hear someone rumor about, well, I know they're going to be putting up that new school, and they always give me like a neighborhood in the county. I'm like, hey, I've been in a lot of meetings here lately. I haven't heard that, but no. So no new schools right now. I know they've done a lot, and you've heard a lot through board meetings and board workshops where they're working on their capacity levels to where they can allow what they can into the schools and still fully function and do the Flagler forward mentality. And we're right at that right now with these schools. We're doing a lot of work to make sure we maintain that. And then, of course, growing from the ground up, big thing for us is VPK, third grade, that range. VPK got a huge boost last year where we were looking at numbers starting to slip there at first. You see that enrollment like April, May, and a couple of the people in charge of that were looking for some ways to start marketing because, you're in a school choice environment now. It's like the college industry. You're marketing. Everyone's on the same plane as far as the consumer goes. And so that's when we got our great idea and we did Baby LaShaka, the little baby superintendent video, when that was the trend to make all the adults babies. And week over week, we saw triple of the number of people coming to our landing page, double the applications, trying to come up with creative ways to let people know that we're here to make sure your kids get where they need to be. And we have the tools to do that.
The one of the questions, of course, is the education. There's the schools have tens millions of dollars in savings account with collected impact fees for future building of schools, and they still keep collecting it, and they have collected it, and they've got a ton of money in drawing interest on that, and yet they can't spend it on anything except building new schools, if I'm correct there.
Well, the only thing that I'm privy to as far as what I disseminate, what I share with everyone to make sure they're right, because that's the important bit is they have cent sales tax. We're getting to the point to where we're a few years into that, a 10-year span. But a lot of that not only is building improvements and building expansions, but it's technology. And for all of you who need an 8-year-old at your house to help you with your phone every now and then, how quickly it's advancing. I mean, that's just not something an older guy says. We're advancing that quickly to where even our own technology experts are doing continually training to make sure they have the very latest. So a lot of money goes into that and making sure that the kids are getting what they need to, because they see it and they're smart enough to see that this is something where it's not just, hey, we're getting kids to go to school like they're supposed to go to. We're getting them to graduate the way they're supposed to. No, we're building the next workforce. And they're starting to see that all the way across the board. It's not just an education side. The families are getting that too.
The Classrooms to Careers program, which I think is just awesome. And you hear a lot more where, everybody doesn't need to go to college. And some kids shouldn't go to college because they have skills and talents that don't require a college degree. And it's no longer a shameful thing, when the kid's graduating and the family goes, well, where are you going to college, son? And it's okay to say what?
We are now at a point where anyone who has had any kind of repair or manual trade work done in their home in Flagler County, they know what it was compared to 5 and 6 years ago. You're waiting 3 times as longer. You're paying 3 times as much. It's because there aren't people in those jobs that are trained. There are fewer and fewer and more retiring. So now the mindset has become, and what you train them to do is, because 5 years ago, 10 years ago, heck, when we were in school, the thought process was this: hey, they might not be cut out to go to college, but they can go learn how to be an electrician. Okay, that's changed in the past 15, 20 years. That's college too. You no longer put that kind of stigma on it. It's, okay, they might not be cut out for your 4-year university, but if it's something with a Flagler Technical College or one of our sister schools, maybe it's going across the state. I want to go to Northwest Florida State, a 2-year school over in Destin, to get those 2-year kind of degree programs to where you're going to make more than enough money to raise your family and do what you need to do. The stigma's gone, but it's looking at it with fresh eyes. It's no longer, hey, we're going to trade school. And I'm glad that we embrace that.
Mm-hmm. I do too. And, I was at a builders and contractors luncheon, and just listening to chatter around the table with them, everybody needs carpenters. I mean, if you are a carpenter and, you can take your pick on where you want to go to work, at least here in Flagler County. And they make good money. And if you, I tell the story before, I have a friend who's an attorney, and he would he would drive by construction sites, and he hates his job as an attorney. And he always likes woodworking and stuff like that. When he'd see a carpenter working, he thought, this is what I wish I was really doing, not doing law. But that's what he went to college for, because his father was an attorney. And he just doesn't, like when you get up in the morning, if you don't like what you're doing, whether it be a doctor, an attorney, or, and that's the whole thing. I think the kids need to kind of find their passion is the whole key, because then the money comes.
Well, for us, a big thing we think about is, do these kids, these students, our next workforce, do they get into the careers they're looking for? Do they want to be a part of it? Do they want to be in it? And once you get to a graduate level, where if you go to a Flagler Tech or you go to a similar institution where you're getting welding, if you're going to be an electrician, if you're going to be a cosmetologist, the number that people like to go by, especially in public education, is, okay, what was your graduation rate? How did how many graduated from your program? After you got out of high school, they pluck you out of programs. The vendors, the employers come and say, hey, do you have any how are they coming in your class? They come to you before they graduate. So for us, it's very important to make sure, we love to see that graduation rate beyond high school. However, we definitely love to see them get where they wanted to go. A great number that we used to do in the college system back in Georgia, we'd always report on, was how many did we have in our tech side of our system that actually had MBAs? We had a lot of guys that went out, a lot of young ladies, young women got their MBAs, and then there were a point like they either want to do something else, or maybe they felt like the job market wasn't there for them. And so the college I actually worked at before I came down here to the beautiful Sunshine State, about 6,000 students, full and part-time. And the last time we did the story, we had more than 30 MBAs, which I just think is a phenomenal testament to where that kind of education comes into play in our society right now.
Mm-hmm. All right, Brian, your comments on that?
Well, yeah, I agree that, like what you just said, that is your college. I think that's an interesting perspective, and there's so many industries that have shortages of workers that we should be and try to encourage that to happen.
Well, we hear all the time about new industry, and I've listened to this show in the past since I've been here the past 4 years about, hey, what new companies are coming in? What are we looking at? The first thing they look at is, what does your next workforce look like? Mm-hmm. And so we have to be ready to satisfy that.
It's interesting that you say that one of the purposes of education is we're developing the next workforce. And I do think that that's really important. It's kind of utilitarian kind of a view of it, but it's accurate. I think that education is also about like having well-rounded people with kind of some knowledge of the world around them, and that's the kind of society we want. Is right. That people are informed and educated, and that's one thing that I think is a little bit lost. Like if we kind of like, don't talk about college as much, and you don't get kind of like the broad education,
right?
That can be lost. I mean, I think that ideally we'd have a society where people are pretty comfortable with reading and learning on their own. And if you don't, then you end up with just people rely on little snippets that they hear all around social media. That's not like, oh, if you go to college, then you don't fall into those traps. That's not really true. Right. But that's I think another purpose of further education.
Well, and with economic development, they want to know, how are the schools? That's one of, before I move my company here, before I move here, before I move my kids here and all that. So the rating of our schools, which is what right now?
Right now I love to say we're right just shy of an A. We have 3 A
That's
schools.
Called a B.
The rest were a B. And then of course we actually support the Imagine Academy, and they're doing some work there as well.
Mm-hmm. It would have been an A, but Mom, the teacher didn't like me.
Yep.
No, I'm always so optimistic.
My teacher didn't explain the homework well enough. That's why I didn't do it.
Well, I will tell you that our A schools, with Matanzas, with Old Kings, with Indian Trails, what they do is the same thing our other schools are doing. They're really putting the student first and making sure the family knows, exactly what's going on in the education of their children's lives each and every day. I'm proud of that.
All right. Don Foley, we got to go. Thank you so much for being on. Merry Christmas to you.
Thanks. Merry Christmas,
and,
guys.
You know, and everybody at the Flagler School System and Lashaka who I think is doing a great job. And keep the school board in line. And, you know, we got a great future ahead.
Miss Moore's going to take care of it. She's doing great.
All right. Brian, final words. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Don't forget Christmas in Bunnell tonight.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's
everybody
right.
have a happy holiday weekend.
And boat parade tomorrow night, Saturday night.
Absolutely.
And
I'll be
if you're feeling crazy, FPC at Matanzas basketball up at Matanzas tonight.